Hello, and welcome to Tea and Tarot. I'm your host, Em. In this podcast, we dive into the world of tarot each week, along with a cup of tea. Some weeks we dive into readings, others into the cards themselves, and some we explore learning about tarot. Tarot has a lot of misconceptions stirring around it, and one that has dogged tarot for centuries and contributed to it being dismissed as a bunch of occult nonsense by many, is that tarot is seen to predict the future. But the origins and original purpose of tarot had absolutely nothing to do with divination or fortune-telling whatsoever. So today we're going to discuss that. And while doing that, I'm drinking a super fruity peach and mango tea. Peach and mango tea offers a refreshing escape to sun-drenched orchards and exotic paradises. Combining the sweet juiciness of ripe peaches with the tropical tang of mangoes, this vibrant infusion tantalizes the taste buds with an irresistible blend of flavors. Whether enjoyed hot or cold, its tropical aroma and sweet, fruity taste make it a delightful indulgence that transports the senses to faraway destinations, capturing the essence of summer in every sip. As I enjoy my mini mental vacation, let's talk about fortune-telling and tarot. In this episode, we're going to debunk the predicting the future myth once and for all by exploring the true origins of tarot as a game, not a fortune-telling system. We'll discuss why tarot cards to predict futures or give definitive answers is a misuse of the tool. And finally, we'll reframe tarot's value as a symbolic system for self-exploration, creative prompting, and introspection. The game origins of tarot. The tarot's origins can be traced back to around 1390 in northern Italy, likely beginning as a Renaissance-era card game played by the wealthy noble classes. The earliest known decks were commissioned by powerful families of Milan and featured lavish artistic imagery. However, these early decks had no mystical, esoteric, or divinatory connotations. They were simply used as a deck of cards for gameplay, similar to the modern game of bridge. Trick-taking with trump suits and scoring points were the primary purposes of the earliest tarot decks. It truly was just seen as a novelty and gaming pursuit from the noble Italian families, not unlike how we would view a standard deck of playing cards today. There were no implied symbolism or occult meanings ascribed to the illustrated cards and trumps at this stage of tarot's evolution. It wasn't until the late 18th century in France that occult writers began speculating about the hidden mystical symbolism and archetypal meanings conveyed through the imagery of the tarot trumps. They proposed that the symbolism encoded wisdom and philosophical teachings passed down from ancient Egyptian priests, despite the cards not originating from Egypt. This launched a trend where esotericists, Freemasons, and early occultists started infusing the originally mundane tarot deck with complex symbolic and divinatory significance it was never intended for. Suddenly, this parlor game was being recast as a mystical map encoding the secrets of existence. The fantasy captivated public imagination. As someone who's a bit more grounded in science and rationality, I remain highly skeptical of any claims that the tarot cards have supernatural fortune-telling abilities or mystical powers to predict future events with certainty. This runs counter to the demonstrable evidence and observable laws we understand about physical reality. Think about this logically. If tarot cards really did have some sort of magic divination properties to foretell the future, surely there would be a highly successful professional psychics and fortune tellers using them to consistently win large sums in lotteries, casinos, and betting markets. We'd see these gifted card readers accumulating vast amounts of documented winnings, but we simply don't observe that happening at all. The reality is that tarot cards are fundamentally just inert pieces of cardstock printed with imagery. They are innate objects that don't possess any intrinsic mystical properties or means of tapping into the quantum realms of probability and fate. Ascribing them with supernatural divination powers is a fanciful prospect, not really based in fact. At best, the symbolism in the pictures on tarot cards may serve as a creative projective prompts for our intuitive, pattern-seeking minds. Nothing more. Claiming tarot has the ability to definitively foretell future events with total accuracy is simply not backed by evidence. While I remain highly dubious of tarot's supposed ability to literally predict future events, I do believe the cards have an immense practical value as an insightful tool for self-discovery. Creative prompting and expansive perspective-taking when used in the right exploratory mindset. The evocative archetypal imagery contained in each card's symbolism is intentionally dense and multi-layered, designed to create resonances with our subconscious intuitions, personal experiences, cultural mythologies, and vast introspective imagination, as uniquely interpreted by each individual. So rather than lazily treating the cards as simplistic shorthands to a single predetermined fate, we can instead approach tarot as a visually rich, creative sandbox and focusing lens to ask profound, generative questions about our inner landscapes, circumstances, and existential journeys. For example, drawing a card like the Moon can prompt all sorts of revelatory introspective inquiries. What fears and anxieties am I grappling with from my subconscious depths? What hidden aspects of myself or the world am I not fully seeing? How can I find more clarity and embrace mystery? The card doesn't decree what will happen, but initiates a guided meditation on the core themes and archetypal energies represented in its symbolism. This invites us to explore new insights, reconcile dissonances, and see our situations through an expansive, holistic lens. At its highest philosophical application, tarot is less a fortune-telling device and more a sophisticated symbolic language system to initiate processes of self-actualization, meaning-making, and integrating our awareness across the intellectual, emotional, and intuitive realms of the consciousness. Does that make sense? Ditch the fortune-telling mythology and use tarot's imagery to empower your own intuitive meaning-making instead. That's the real magic in my book. Thank you for joining me on today's controversial episode. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please do subscribe or find me on social media. And if you have any questions you want to learn about tarot, drop me a message and I'll see to add it to a future episode. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep learning.